Hi! This instructional video is about drawing and comparing box and whisker plots. Box and whiskers. I've been watching the news lately and I'm finding out that there's this thing called designer basketball shoes. They're pretty popular. It's a hot item right now. Some people are willing to pay hundreds, if not thousands of dollars for these athlete-endorsed basketball shoes. Crazy stuff. So I took a survey of my own students. So in one of my math classes, as they were coming in, I just randomly asked them, hey, do you have these designer basketball shoes? Yeah. How many do you have? So, here's the numbers. So now we're going to use the number of these designer athletic shoes and represent it using the box and whisker plots. In order to do that, we have to put these numbers in sequential order from the smallest to the largest. And so, here I go. There it is. Okay, in an ascending order. So now the first thing you want to do, in this case, is find the median. Find the median. The middle of the entire set of numbers. And to do that, well, since total of 20, we're going to count 10 to find the middle. That's what the median is, it's the middle. So, here we go. Here's a 10. Here's a 10. And so what's in between these 15 and 17? Well, it's actually 16 because it's 17 plus 15 divided by 2, which is 32 divided by 2 is 16. So there's your median. Now what do you do with that? We're going to draw a number line. Okay, it's not according to scale, but oh well. So here we go. The median is 16. So 16 is somewhere between 10 and 20. Here's a 15. Then 16 must be over here. And what is the maximum number? The biggest number, somebody actually has 90. 90 pairs of shoes. Some kid has just one pair of those fancy designer basketball shoes. So there's that. And now where are the boxes? Well, here's how it goes. If this is the median, we need the middle of the upper half. The half of the upper half is the upper quartile. And so we count again. Since there's 10 here, we're going to count 5. Here's the 5. Here's the 5. So what's between 25 and 27? We know it's 26. So it's going to be 26. This is the upper quartile. And what's the lower quartile is the middle of the lower half. So we're going to count 5 on each direction as well. And between 9 and 11, of course, is the 10. And that's going to be the lower quartile. And so, here is the lower quartile at 10. And here, the 26 is somewhere over here. And I'm going to kind of estimate it. So here's your box. And here is your whisker to one side. And here's the whisker to the other. Box and whiskers. That's how it's done. So the upper quartile is a 26. The median of the entire data is 16. And the lower quartile is the 10. And the total range is the maximum of the data minus the minimum of the data. So in this case, it's 90 minus 1. So the range is actually 89. Now, there is a word that we give to a far-fetched number such as these. Notice everything's in 1s, 10s, and 20s, and 130 maybe. But this one blessed child has 90 pairs. This is called an outlier. Now, outlier doesn't really affect anything. It will not affect the median or the upper and lower quartiles. The only thing that's going to affect it is the range, which may give some wrong idea about the data. And it will definitely affect the mean, the average of the entire numbers if somebody asked us for it. Otherwise, the box and whisker, besides that one long part of the whisker, it doesn't really change the quartiles or the shape of the box itself. And now we got the range. Now we need the interquartile range, and that is the maximum of the upper quartile, which is 26, minus the lower quartile, which is 10. So the interquartile is actually 26 minus 10 is 16. There it is. These were my 20 students from period 3 math class. Of course, I was curious to see how my period 4 classes students responded. And so I asked, as they were coming in randomly, 20 students for the same question. How many designer basketball shoes do you have? And I was kind of shook up. So rather than giving you the numbers, let me just give you the box and whisker plot and kind of give you an idea. Check this out. Okay, so this is what I had. When I asked the period 4 kids as they were coming in, of all the sum numbers they got, the critical numbers that they gave me were, the kid was the most number of basketball shoes was 60. I have 60 pairs. The median, the middle of the data for period 4 turned out to be 22 pairs compared to the 16 for period 3. And the lower quartile was 14, and there was also one child who had just one pair of this expensive designer basketball shoes. I looked at the two of them. This is period 3 and this is period 4 kids. And I couldn't stop wondering, how do I compare these two kids? Two groups of kids using the box and whiskers. Well, it turns out I could say that 50% of period 4 kids have shoes between 14 and 45 pairs of basketball shoes. So in fact, more kids in period 4 have more designer basketball shoes than period 3 kids. Half the kids had 14 to 45 pairs of shoes in period 4 compared to half of the kids, 50% of the kids. Okay, these are all in quartiles. Quarter, third quarter, and the fourth quarter. So 2 quarters here, 50% of period 3 kids had pairs of shoes between 10 and 26. 50% of the period 4 kids had 14 pairs to 45 pairs of shoes. So there were a lot more kids in period 4. And also, if some magazine came out with some information that said, hey kids, if you want to be hip, if you want to be cool, if you want to be trendy, you must have at least 20 pairs of designer basketball shoes. You must have at least 20 pairs to be all that. Well, check this out. It turns out 50% of the period 3 kids are not trendy after all, because they do not have 20 pairs of shoes. Whereas 50% of the kids in period 4 have 20 pairs or more shoes, so they're more trendy than period 3 kids. Wow. So that's how you compare the group of data using the box and whiskers plot. There it is.